Blog Talk.
Welcome to Love Life Heart Confessions with intuitive heart healer, the Love Guru, Blaire Allison. Blaire can be found on the web at loveguru.net and datingtipsfordudes.com. And now your host, Blaire Allison.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's Blaire, the Love Guru, and you're listening to Love Life Heart Confessions. Man, I feel like I have not spoken to you guys in so long. We did not have a show last week. I had one scheduled, but then I was asked to be on the radio to do an interview for 107.9 The Link in North Carolina. So shout out to everybody in North Carolina. I was on the Matt and Ramona show. It was a lot of fun, and it actually ended up being the same time that this show happened. So I had to go take care of that. It was a lot of fun, and actually, that interview is on my website if you want to listen to it at loveguru.net. If you click on Heart Healer, you'll be able to listen to the interview. It's like if you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll see, because they brought me on. The reason why I accepted the interview so last minute was because one of the hosts' birthdays was that day, and they wanted me to come on to give him a heart reading, which is what they were calling it, a heart healing session. They wanted a sample of it. So that was very good. I came on and I was trying to help him with his love life, but it was what I thought was interesting about that, and I wanted to kind of pass on to you guys, was sometimes people come to me and they're like, hey, Blaire, I want to have a heart healing session or a love attracting session, and it's both. It's combined in one. It's called an intuitive heart healing love attracting session, and I could either do this in person or on the phone, and basically what it is when I talk to somebody, within like a few minutes of them sharing about what's going on in their love life, I could tell intuitively, I have a gift to know what's going on within their heart, like if they're being blocked from love, and then I'll take them through steps to heal their heart so that they can attract love, or if they have no idea how to find love, I take them through love attracting exercises to teach them how to attract love to them. But what happened on this show was the host there who was having a birthday, first off, it was very embarrassing for him because we were doing this session, which is very private. We were doing it in front of everyone, all his coworkers, plus everyone listening on air. So that was not good. So I always say, let's do the session in private because a lot of personal stuff comes up. And then the other thing was, the guy was, when we were talking, he was like, well, I'm not really looking for love. I'm not really looking for a relationship. I'm not looking for something casual either. And if you're not looking for anything, and if you're not frustrated in it or trying to do something about your love life, I really can't help you. You come to me if you're trying to improve your love life, if you're frustrated that it's not happening. I don't have a magic wand. I can't do the work for you to poof, make it happen, to bring the one into your life when you're not even sure what you're looking for. So I thought that was very interesting. That's what came up on that interview. So once again, that was on 107.9 The Link in North Carolina, the Matt and Ramona show, and you can listen to that, the recording of it, on my website at loveguru.net, and if you click on Heart Healer, then you'll be able to listen to it. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted here. I wanted to send out a little Facebook and tweet update just saying that we're on air today. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Jeff, and I'm not going to bring him on just yet, but I just want to let you guys know he's going to be talking about how to make a marriage work, how to keep it alive. He's been married to his woman for, and I'm going to pull up the information in a second here, for 20-something years, 28 years. And he says, there's different stages you go through. It's been the most rewarding, and it's been the most difficult experience for me. And he's going to just share the truth. Each week I bring you guys a guest. It's called Love Life Heart Confessions. And I bring you a guest that's going to be sharing the truth about what's happening in their love life. And we don't do this to gossip. A lot of times I know I have very out there topics, but we're doing it to kind of just create a space. A lot of times people are very private about their love lives, and we all go through the same things. And when we just are honest with one another and we share the truth, and it's very healing for the person sharing and for us listening, because you're not alone. We are never alone with the experiences. We all go through the same experiences, and we could all learn from one another. Oh my goodness. There's so much going on. I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute here. I'm kind of hyper today. I think because it's nice weather in New Jersey, New York area, so it really gets me a little feisty. Okay, let me just kind of give you a couple, I have some announcements of what's happening, and then we're going to go straight to my guest for today. First off, if you did not listen to, not last week's episode, but because obviously we didn't have one, the week before, definitely listen to that. That was a good show. It was a show that I was teaching. I was teaching and I was taking your calls. It was episode 16, when you feel like you are drawn to a man or a woman in a relationship that you feel out of control. And I was teaching about that. You could hear the spiritual point of view on that topic. And then next week, I'm going to be teaching again and taking your calls, any of love life questions that you have next week. Episode 18, I'm talking about being lonely again. It seems it's a very popular topic. You guys all write in whenever I do like the single and lonely shows. But this next week, what we're going to be talking about is 3 different kind of, I don't know what to call it, stages of being lonely. It's not really stages. It's not really levels either. It's like 3 different types of loneliness. 1 is being lonely when you're single. Number 2 is lonely when you first started dating somebody. And number 3 is lonely when you are in a committed relationship with somebody. So we're going to talk about that. I think it's going to be interesting. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth when I start teaching you guys. So I'm interested to hear what I'm going to say too. One final announcement. I am now doing, for everybody in New York, New Jersey, and Florida, I just announced that I'm doing what I'm calling the Love Guru parties. And that's a situation where I come to your house or your hotel room or wherever you're having a girls' night out, or I guess it's called a girls' night in party. And I'm going to come to your location. You have different choices. I could either come and do private readings for you and all your guests, or we could do that I come and I teach on a topic. I answer your personal questions. A lot of times our friends have the same problems in love that we have. So we'll come, we'll all hang out, you know, maybe we'll have some drinks or some tea and cookies, whatever you're into, and we'll hang out and I'll teach you guys, and we can also have readings, private readings during that party too. And that information is on my website at loveguru.net. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. My username is lovegurublaire. Blaire is spelled with an E at the end. And I would love to connect with you there. I hang out online all day long. It's a lot of fun for me. I love it. I love hanging out with you guys and seeing your faces. So come join me on Facebook and Twitter. Okay, now it's time for my guest to talk. I'm going to bring him on. Let me introduce him. His name is Jeff, and he is 51, and his wife is 62. He's married to an older woman, 9 years. That's pretty fabulous. We're going to discuss that too. And he's been with her for 28 years, and wait, did I say 9 years or 11 years older? She's 11 years older. He's 51, she's 62. So, and we're going to hear his take on how to keep a marriage alive, how to keep it spicy, how to keep it good. So, Jeff, are you there?
I am.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's dive right in here, because there's a lot that kind of came up when you were emailing me about all you had to share today. First off, is this your first marriage? Is this your first and only marriage that you've been in?
It is, the one and only.
Okay, nice. Okay, so first off, like, what comment really struck me was initially you were saying that a lot of times people go into marriage thinking that it's going to be some kind of fairy tale, and it's really not. So why don't we start there and just kind of like, what is marriage really like? What happens there, and why isn't it a fairy tale?
Well, it's a great question that I've been thinking about a lot, even in the last couple of days. And I think, the picture of marriage that we get sold, movies, TV, books, there's this picture, I think, of marriage as the ultimate peak of, being in love, and that marriage is going to give you the answer to all your prayers. It'll eliminate loneliness. It will be the person with whom you can count on having, even though you might have issues here and there. I think a lot of us go into marriage with the idea that this is the person that is going to have me feeling blissed out and like life is all good all the time, and that when life isn't good, my partner will be the one that's going to be able to make it better if I'm having trouble doing it on my own. And then there's a confusion, I think, that happens about how romance, the difference between romance and marriage, and how those two things interact with each other and how they shift in that interaction over time. And we're all hungry for the endorphin rush of what it's like to be in love. And so something I've been batting around the last couple of days is, in love is easy. Marriage is harder, because we don't plan on who we're going to fall in love with. When my wife and I met, neither one of us were even looking for a partner. Neither one of us wanted anything to do with being in a relationship. And we met.
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in for a second, and I'm just going to kind of give you a heads up. I jump in and out just because I just kind of, we have a lot to cover in limited time. But tell me, so you were saying, okay, we're looking at marriage to eliminate this loneliness, that this person we could count on, that they're going to be giving us this feeling of being blissed out. So what is, if you're not, okay, you find the one, and you're still feeling lonely when you're married, and you can't really count on this person. Are you saying that it's the opposite of these things? I mean, what is marriage like then? What is it really like?
Well, I guess the way I'd put it is, I think that fairy tale, or whatever pictures were brought up with, particularly in the media, about the ecstatic part of marriage, absolutely you can have that in marriage. But that whole, there's a lot of scientific stuff about how that when we find somebody that we're really attracted to, and we're in that in love, in lust, can't keep your hands off each other kind of energy, that has a natural lifespan, which actually, from things I've read, on average is about 2 years. So when you're in that blissed out, can't stop thinking about your partner, can't wait to be with them every spare moment, which is, of course, is a total rush, that has a lifespan. What marriage is, or I'll say committed partnership, because I don't want to limit it to just being married, but limited partnership, when that honeymoon period wears off, that's when you really get to start getting to know who you're with. And that's when you see more of the great, and it's also where you start noticing the stuff that the idealized kind of gaga energy we get in when we're newly in love with somebody covers up. We don't want to see the warts of the people. We just see all the great stuff initially.
So how long did you date your wife before you guys got married? How old were you both? How old were you when you got married?
Well, when we met, we were together for 3 years before we got married. So when we met, I was 23 or 24. I think 23. And she was 34 and just had gotten divorced and had a a 9-year-old son.
And so you didn't see, you're saying that in your experience, you're saying once you get married, that's when you're seeing the warts or whatever. I mean, you didn't see that in 3 years of dating? You didn't see that you didn't have ups and downs and...
Oh, sure we did. But I think there's a level, when I'd say for us, that honeymoon period, it was about 2 years. And we had challenges even during that time, but we were so in that fresh, new, you are the person I've been waiting for my whole life kind of energy, that the difficulties or the stuff that wasn't, easy, it was actually easier to deal with what wasn't easy because we still were in so much of that kind of chemical and emotional infatuation with each other. And then the 3rd year before we got married, sure, we started seeing the warts, but because we'd had that 2-year period that wasn't totally idyllic, we'd already had some practice at looking at how we could get through the communication issues, the differences in our styles and so forth. But I think after that honeymoon period wears off, then, there's an incredible reward to it that you have to really figure out how to bridge the gaps of the differences that emerge through the combination of time and the combination of how time, if you don't watch it, can lull you into kind of going to sleep, conscious, getting unconscious with each other and getting into ruts and habits and routines that have you forget, who you really are and what the heart connection really is.
Okay, so why don't you tell me and everybody listening here, what are the good things about marriage and what are the bad things about marriage? Maybe you could give me 5 of each.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the good. One is that I think on a human and spiritual level, romantic relationship that is committed is one of the best areas to practice really stepping into your truth, your authenticity, sharing who you are, warts and all. So that's one. It's a place where you get to practice being real. Mm-hmm. 2, you get to be able to have somebody that, if you're smart, you don't ever get to take for granted. So you've got somebody there with you every day that you can also practice not assuming that you know everything about them that you think they do. So there's constant surprises. You're constantly getting to learn new things about her or him and yourself. 3rd would be that the sexual component of marriage certainly doesn't hurt. And so if that's going well, you have somebody that you get to constantly be practicing getting to be better lovers, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Number 4, in our case, we had children, so I think another blessing of marriage is you get the opportunity to go through the rewards and difficulties of raising children and seeing how you get to keep your relationship alive when the demands of that are pulling on it. And 5, I think, I'll just speak for the 2 of us. You really, in my opinion, you get to know love at a level that, in my opinion, is actually probably more real than that honeymoon infatuation, stars in your eyes kind of love, because it's quite something to have to keep finding the best in each other to connect with when your life feels like it's going down the tubes, or you're struggling with just the day-to-day challenges of life. The 5 worst things. I think every partnership you do find where you're really different. So it can be pretty difficult, annoying, and irritating for both partners to have to keep learning how to deal with the aspects of your partner that you don't like. Number two, for us, parenting has been a delight, and it's also been some of the most difficult aspects of our life, not because of our kids not being great, but if you're working and you each have a career and you're raising children, I think it's very challenging to find the time to really devote to each other to keep the balance in your relationship. So that's a difficulty. 3, having to deal with other people's expectations and pictures that they project onto your marriage. If you look like you're
okay, let's stop there for a second. Yeah,
Sure.
Explain that a little bit. What's that mean?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people that have known us over the years, I think, have really admired our relationship. They've looked at us and go, okay, there's two people that are somehow making it work. And so then, when things might not be going well, I've had times where, I've gone to a friend for some support or advice, and I've ended up having to deal with their shock and where they get afraid. Like, you guys are the best one we know, so if you have problems, then what could that mean for me? And so then those kind of calls can turn out to be, instead of you getting supported by them, you're helping them get over their fear that's been triggered because you have a problem. It's like people, if they think you're all together and you start sharing that you're not always together, they can have a reaction to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So give me two other bad things about marriage.
Well, I guess one thing I'd want to say, Blaire, bad, I kind of prefer the word maybe challenging or difficult because really for me, I'm just going to talk for me, I don't think, I haven't seen things really bad about marriage. I just have seen challenges and difficulties in it. Number 4 would be that I don't believe that a lot of us are hardwired to really be with one person for our whole life. I don't necessarily believe biologically and maybe on other levels that that's really how I think, that got invented over time. So I think, it's both a great thing and a challenge to, really stay committed and be committed to the good, bad, and the ugly of what it is to be with somebody for 30, 40, 50 years. So that's
Let me ask you something. Why would you tell me, I mean, of course I could answer these questions or whatever the way that, how I see, but, today you're the guest, so I'm going to be asking you. But, tell me why would somebody, if you're saying, okay, I don't really think we're hardwired to be with someone forever, and then you're seeing the kind of the good, the bad, the ugly in somebody, or you see these aspects that maybe you're maybe not just different, but really different. Why would somebody choose to stay in that relationship, or rather, is it just kind of hey, I made a commitment, I'm going to stick with this, or what is the reason? There's so many questions within this one, but
Well, I think that's a good one to start with if you want to start there.
Okay.
I think that for me, and I know this is true for my wife. She's not here to speak for herself, but I know this is true for her. Over the years we've been together, we've given each other plenty of opportunities to go, man, you are not what I thought I signed up for. And I think what's kept both of us in it has been that, for one thing, we still love each other, and it's not a naive, obsessive, infatuated kind of love. It's the deep love that comes when you really are with somebody, year after year after year through that good, the bad, and the ugly. So we've never lost our heart connection. So that's one thing. And, when I stood up there and made that commitment, I meant it. Now, if we really hated each other's guts, if we really, had no common ground anymore, and there was nothing valuable or beneficial, I would not stay in a marriage, nor would my wife. We wouldn't have stayed in it just because we said we would. However, for me anyway, that commitment that we made, that was a commitment that translates to I will never give up on this relationship no matter how bad it gets unless I'm really, really sure that I've done everything in my power and gotten every kind of help that I could get to work through whatever's going on. And if I've given it everything and it's still just not workable, then I'm willing to leave it. And for us, that's never happened. And the third thing is respect. We respect each other. And that respect gets us through a lot of the disagreements because we don't lose track of how we see each other that's different from how we're behaving.
Okay, so maybe you could share with us, like, how does the marriage not get boring or not turn into a friendship or not turn into routine? Like, what is your experience? I mean, if you're saying that it's not like, okay, you come home from work or she comes home from work or whatever, maybe you both work out of the house, but like it's kind of like, oh my goodness, I love you, I want you, that type of thing. I mean, what is my parents have been together for, I think it's maybe been 28 years too or something like that, a long time. Oh, actually longer. It has to be longer because I'm 32. Yeah. So, but anyway, and they had me after a year or two of marriage. But anyway, they've been together for a long time. And so, I mean, I see their relationship, and I'm just wondering from, like, how is that if it's not that crazy chemistry, if it's not those passionate nights? I mean, are you putting sex on the calendar? I mean, like, we hear that a lot.
Well, let me talk to that in general first, and then I'll talk about the sex part. Really, I think that over time, so we're, I've gone through my 20s, my 30s, and my 40s with her. And so, I can definitely say in all honesty that when we were, probably in the first 10 years, so my mid-20s to mid-30s and her mid-30s to mid-40s, there was a pretty steady flow of that real, raw and wild attraction. A lot of, sex was not an issue for us. And it was great, it was frequent, and it was always tied to a lot of just how much we loved each other as well as desiring each other. But I think over time, as you're going through the decades and you're dealing with the non-relationship aspects of life, we had children. We lost, my wife lost both of her parents in 1 year. We both abandoned careers we'd been in to go into completely new careers, move away from everybody we lived around for 30 or 40 years, and move to a new area where we only knew two people. All kinds of things that we all get to deal with. And so are there times where, the sex goes on the back burner and you're not walking in ready to tear each other's clothes off at first sight? Absolutely. So I think that one of the things that's helped us is we woke up to the fact that expecting that it would be the way it was in the early years forever and always was naive. It just isn't realistic in my opinion. So what we've done, what our experience has been with each other is there are periods where maybe one partner or the other is really struggling internally within themselves, and so, men have a tendency to pull back and go in our cave and try and work it out. And so there have certainly been times over the years where she and I have, gone into more, quote-unquote, of a seeming friendship. But we also, even when we're in those, we've always done things like we always make sure that we connect physically with affection. If we're not being sexual, we're striving to be physically affectionate, that we don't let a day go by where we're not hugging each other, we're not kissing each other, we're not, letting each other know that I love you. We say I love you to each other every day, and we mean it. And I don't say it if I'm not connected to the truth of the feeling. So during those times when it's kind of, in the valley, shall we say, I think that the thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you then cultivate the friendship, because the friendship's one of the bases of the health of the relationship. Then, as we've gotten older, yes, there have been times where we've actually, put sex on the calendar. We both are, entrepreneurs. We both work for ourselves, and that takes a lot of time and effort. So, regrettably, yeah, the spontaneity doesn't tend to be there the way it was, 15, 20 years ago. But the trade-off is that when we are making time for that, I think it's richer. I think the sex is better in a lot of ways. And, not that you could really truly have bad sex, but when we are being sexual, I think that the depth of emotional and spiritual connection that we've developed with each other actually makes the sex much richer and more than, just the physical thrill of it all. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, since we're talking about sex here, it's not, what are you doing? And so it's not like, okay, the same moves. It sounds like you're having sex for the connection rather than for, maybe you could explain, what are you guys, what exactly is happening in the bedroom that it's not boring? Because that's a complaint that we hear a lot, that it just gets the same old, and you're just tired of sleeping with the same person. You might still love them, but it's still, you get tired of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that, for us, a couple things, there certainly were the years when our youngest child was, younger and home and, between work and not really feeling inclined to go at it on the kitchen table while the kid's in the dining room. You have to get creative, and you have to, find the moments that you can take advantage of. So in the periods where perhaps the frequency has dropped, in a way, I think the absence makes the heart grow fonder thing comes into play. Because no matter what we might do, this position, that position, if there's been a bit of a lull between times that you have had sex, it actually, for me anyway, it makes the sex hotter because it actually has a bit more of a premium. If you're doing it every few days and you used to do it every few hours, as great as it is every few hours, I think, that can actually get to be more routine than anything else. So that's one thing. We try and be mindful of, who initiates, where, somebody initiates and switches that up, different places. I'm a big believer, my wife's going to be mortified when she hears it. I think that, one of the fun things that we did is to make a game out of it. So, how long does it take you to make sure you have sex in every room in your house, including engagement? Surprise.
That's a good game. That sounds good.
Yeah. And do you want to ask me something else?
No, I was. Go ahead. Finish your. I was going to just give out the phone number here for a second, but go ahead. Finish your. Yeah.
Yeah, I would, and I think that you have to also. I consciously have had times where I've gone into a lovemaking session where I want to stretch myself. I want to go out of my own comfort zone, and so one way that could look for me is, really wanting to focus on her. And I'm not going to lie and say I've been super successful with this, but I've certainly had times where I've gone, you know what, I just want to pleasure her, and I want her to have a great time, and that's enough for me, and I'm not going to get mine. I think that's a great exercise for people to do, where it's not, okay, I got to do this, but really out of your love for them, you just really want to get them off and have that be, a delightful, how can you get off getting them off without you getting off? That's a great thing to play with. And lastly, I would just say, if you're really aware and mindful, then you should be able to be present to when you are falling into a routine, and could then just do something different. If you normally start here, start there. And remember that the whole body is the orgasm zone, not just the genitals.
Okay, that's good advice. I wanted to give the call-in number for everybody because what I'm going to do is I'm going to open, I see there's some callers on the line here. I'm going to open the lines for you guys to ask Jeff some questions. The number here is 347-324-3904. You're listening to Love Life Heart Confessions. I'm your host, Blaire Allison, the Love Guru. And I'm going to have you guys ask your questions, and if you want to call in for some readings, maybe we'll have some time to do that too. So if you want to get in queue, if something's going on in your love life and you'd like me to do a mini reading for you also. We're going to go to a quick break. Feel free to call in while we're on break here, and I'm going to be coming to you callers when we get back. So just hang on for a second.
Do you feel frustrated by the dating scene? You go out to meet men but never seem to find what you're looking for. Today I'm here to tell you why that happens. Quite simply, it's because you haven't taken the steps to prepare yourself for love. See, all these years you've been dating what I like to call the old way. You search the internet, you go to bars, you ask friends to match you up, you go to singles events. And when you go out, you're always on the lookout because you never know when he's going to show up. But instead of Mr. Wonderful showing up, you end up wondering where he is. The Prepare Yourself for Love program is a natural, effortless way that brings the one to you rather than you're going out and looking for him. Get the Prepare Yourself for Love program now by going to www.loveguru.net. Get the Prepare Yourself for Love program at www.loveguru.net so you can finally attract the love you are looking for. When you've prepared yourself for love, relationships come to you. There's no effort or hard work required.
Do you hate small talk? Think it's boring, a waste of time, and goes nowhere? Most singles don't realize that small talk actually gives you a lot of information. It can be fun, easy, and a great screening process to know for sure if a guy is right for you. Introducing the Get a Date Success Package. Included are 3 powerful audios. Learn how to find a date in 5 minutes or less with someone you actually connect with. The program is quick and to the point. You'll be taken through 4 steps that will tell you, without a doubt, if a person you are talking to has the qualities you're looking for. No more wasting your time talking to losers. Say goodbye to dead-end conversations. The Get a Date Success Package also includes Getting Guys Flirting 101. You'll discover the power you have over men, not in a bad way, but in a way to get them to come over and talk to you. Once you tap into this power, you'll be a master at the dating game. You'll also get the audio uncovering 2 levels of small talk for better connections. See, most singles do small talk wrong, and that's why they hate it. Stop forcing the relationship. Stop forcing the connection when he's really not right for you. Learn what to say and how to say it, and you'll end up loving small talk. Get these 3 eye-opening audios that will transform the way you meet and pick up men. Go to www.loveguru.net/getadate.html. That's www.loveguru.net/getadate.html. Are you a negative?
Hey guys, we're back. It's Blaire, the Love Guru. You're listening to Love Life Heart Confessions. And today's guest says that marriage is not a fairy tale, but it can be fantastic. And he's been sharing some tips and some of his experiences in our talk today. Now I'm going to go to the lines, and again, if you want to call in, feel free to call in to ask him a question about marriage, the truth about marriage, or if you have a question about your love life, I will do a little mini reading for you. So I'm going to go to 252 first. Welcome to Love Life Heart Confessions. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Kima.
Kima, hi. Are you calling for a question for Jeff about the truth about marriage, or are you calling about your love life?
I'm calling about my love life.
Okay. All right. Hold on one second, because let me just check in with another caller here just to see what the story is, if there are questions for Jeff, and then I'm going to come back to you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and I wish we could do a little screening here, but we can't. So I'm going to pick up 757, and welcome to Love Life Heart Confessions. What's your name?
My name is Deanna. I actually have a question for both of you guys about my love life and what I can do.
Okay. Well, why don't you, let's see here. So you're having a situation and are you married right now?
I'm not married, but it's like I'm married. And we've been in a relationship.
Hold on.
Okay,
hold
no
on
problem.
1 second. I'm going to just try one other caller, and then we'll see what the story is, and we'll decide what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to go to 313. Welcome to Love Life Heart Confessions. What's your name?
Rodney.
What's your name? I'm sorry?
Rodney.
Riley, okay.
Rodney.
Rodney, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Welcome. So do you have a question for Jeff about the truth about marriage? Or do you have a question about your love life?
Yeah, it's actually a love life, but it's more like a personal question.
Okay, so hang on the line for a second here. Okay, you know what? So what we're going to do here is, Jeff, I'm going to thank you for being on the phone with us today and sharing your experience about your marriage. I'm actually going to go into just doing readings for everybody, and we'll see how many readings we could get in the 15 minutes that's left here. But I wanted to thank you for sharing your story with us, and I send you and your wife lots of love.
Well, thank you for having me, Blaire.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're going to go back to... I'm going to go to 252, Kima. Right? Did I pronounce your name correctly? Oh wait, hold on. It didn't click on air. 1 second.
Hello?
There we go. Hi, it's Kima, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell me what's going on in your love life.
Nothing.
How can I help you?
I was just wondering, since you're talking about marriage, do you see any prospects of marriage coming towards me anytime soon?
Okay. All right, good. And see, this is good because this is teaching me a lesson, because every time I do a show and I go to give readings, I get a question like this. The way that I'm intuitive, so I have different gifts that I could see the future and things like that. But I don't do readings as far as like predictions, because I feel like they kind of work against us. They actually turn out to be kind of really shitty because they give away our power. Because what happens is if I say, yes, I see you getting married in whatever, I don't know, X amount of months or something like that, and then it doesn't happen, or meeting the one, then you kind of feel crappy that it's like, well, what did I do to mess this up? Or, it kind of puts you to passive things. So the way that I'm going to be able to help you and everybody who's listening, the way that I work is we're just going to kind of talk a little bit, and I'll be able to share with you what comes up as far as how you can be empowered in your love life to be attracting love to you. Because there's always loads of men around us, and there's loads of prospects, because it's our choice whether we want to marry this one or that one or whatever. You know, that's always we're in control of our own love life.
Right.
So tell me, like, now you said nothing's going on, so is there no one that you're talking to at all, or are you just out of a relationship, or, like, what are you frustrated with?
Okay, right now I'm not seeing nobody. I'm not talking to nobody, and I've been kind of dealing with my past and stuff for the past couple of years, and I've not really seen nobody in about a year and a half now. So I was just wondering, you know, I guess what can I do to create these energies to attract, you know, somebody who is a potential to be, you know, a part of my life, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's the perfect way to ask the question. So you said, I want to make sure that I heard it correctly. Like, you said you have been dealing with stuff from your past, or you're done with stuff in your past?
Well, I'm done with it, you know.
Okay.
I think anything else that you feel is probably residual coming off that situation, but that's probably going to be dealt with within the next month. So I'm through with it at this point. You understand?
Yeah. So, and moving forward, like, are you looking, like, what kind of relationship are you looking for? You're looking for the one as far as, like, getting married to?
Not even that. Maybe just somebody to kind of a long relationship, you know, whether it be marriage or not, but just to have some, you know, a companion there for me, you know. So.
Okay.
And that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. So have you started, like, maybe looking online or going outside and just kind of making yourself available to people?
Well, I live in the country, so it's not many good men, let's say, that I would, you know, want to be with. And I have been online, but it's like, after a while, it's like, I don't want none of these guys. What's going on with me? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, though. I don't know. But, you know, in one hand, I guess I want to be with somebody, and again, I guess something, you know, else telling me, kind of pulling me back, I guess. Because I go through some guys, you know, online and whatnot, but it's, you know, I don't really think it's, you know, they're nothing that I really, you know, that presents itself as being a, you know, potential towards me. So
what did you say? Like, you said something like pulls you back. Like, what exactly pulls you back when you're doing?
I don't know, just the fact that there's like there's like a lack of men that I'm attracted to. So it's like, I don't even want to go there. It's like maybe I need to just chill out for a little bit more, you know, because there's nothing that that's really drawing my attention to them, you know, or anything. And that's how I thought that you're supposed to look for a mate. You look for that, you know, that connection. But, you know, I've not really seen nothing. And the one guy that I did have an attraction to, you know, I think maybe he had some of his own issues to deal with. So I was like, forget it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, the first step that we do, because a lot, you know, we think, you know, being single, we think, okay, our first step is to, like, let me go out there, let me go look, or let me look online or whatever. I mean, it sounds like there's a little confusion or uncertainty as far as, like, what exactly are you looking for? Like, do you have an idea of, like, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like, do you have everything kind of broken down as far as, like, how you want this man to treat you and the qualities that you want him to have? Do you know what you're looking for?
Pretty much. I think I do, and but you know, I don't know. Maybe that's what's kind of messing me up. Maybe there's some confusion with me, and maybe that's why I'm not really being attracted to any of these guys, because I don't even know what I want.
Exactly. Yeah. You see, you answered that for yourself there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really very common, and that's why I'm kind of walking you through the steps here, is when we go about our love lives and we're kind of not really sure what we want, and we're kind of a little bit confused about, like, I mean, sometimes people are confused about what kind of relationship they're looking for, and some people are confused as far as, like, what kind of person they're looking for in their life. So with you, it doesn't sound like it's so much the relationship. I don't feel like that's where the issue is. I feel like it's more of, like, who do you want this man to be? So the way that we do that, the first step, is what I call preparing yourself for love. And I go into detail about this, and I have a lot of exercise with that on my website. It's loveguru.net, and it's Prepare Yourself for Love. That's where I start everybody in attracting their one. And really, like, one of the exercises, or part of the exercise, is that you really want to take the vision. You want to spend a little bit of time of kind of like daydreaming. That's how we create in our world. So you want to daydream a little bit of, like, who is this guy? You know, what's he like? What does he look like? And what are his personality traits? What does he act like? Is he funny? Is he romantic? Things along those lines. So you want to daydream about that, and then you want to get it down on paper. So, I mean, it's a little bit like, I mean, I know we kind of like, we hear that it's a little bit cliche of, like, make a list of, like, the type of person you want. But that's really the next step for you. That's really like the first step for you to take. Because that's the first step in us creating that. Because once we get really clear on what we're looking for in a partner, then it's kind of like, poof, then it happens. And it really does happen very quickly like that. The clearer we are about things that we want, it's like, you know, when you're, like, there's this visual of, like, running a marathon, or, like, let's just say you're sprinting, you know, whatever it is, like a short sprint, and you're in a race. If you are focused on that end goal, you know, like there's the flag that I need to run to or run through or whatever, then you're just doing a straight line. Whereas right now what you're doing, if you were running in that race, you're kind of zigzagging, because you're, like, looking here, and then you're looking there, and you're like, I don't know, maybe I should wait. But no, it's not time for you to wait. It's time for you to be out there and go create and go after what you want. And it doesn't matter that, like, you live, you know, maybe in this, like, country area. It makes no difference, because when you become very clear on what you want, like, you just draw this person to you. And it's very easy for you to recognize that person, too, when you're so clear with what that person feels like, because really it turns into a feeling once you start writing it down.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Sure.
Okay. So start there, and I would encourage you to go check out Prepare Yourself for Love on my website there, because that walks you through a bunch of different steps. There's, like, a bunch of different exercises and visualizations to go through, and that will just help you. I mean, it's called a manifestation. I teach it live as a workshop, too, in New York City, in Jersey, and Florida, but that's manifestation stuff. So any time that you're spent doing that, that's actually creating this person in your life.
Okay.
All righty?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Lots of love.
All right,
Thanks
bye-bye.
for calling. Bye-bye. Okay, so we have the other callers dropped off. I had, like, several other callers, and the lines are free right now. So if you would like to call in, I have time for one other caller, 347-324-3904. If you have something that's going on in your love life and you want me to take a look at it, or something's frustrating you in your love life, then call in about that. I could take a look, or if you're wondering about a certain guy or girl in your life. I did want to tell you that I updated, I have this workshop also. I sell it as an audio on my site. It's called Embracing a Breakup. And I updated this material. It is really good right now. I get so proud of myself. It was good before, but it definitely needed to be updated because I did it several years ago. So it's an all-new audio, and that you could find on the website loveguru.net, Embracing a Breakup. It's actually an instant download. That's the same with Prepare Yourself for Love right now. They're downloads. And really, there's steps what I've been seeing is there's really a pattern. I've been learning this through working with all you guys and talking to a lot of you, helping you along the way. I've been noticing that there's steps. There's kind of like this theme that I take you through as far as my programs. Number one, the first step is prepare yourself for love. You know, how do I attract that person into my life? How do I manifest him or her into my life? So that would be the first step. You know, let me take care of that using your internal energy, what I call. A lot of times here we're using our external energy. Now, what does that mean? External energy is going out and going to bars and looking online and all this busy doing work. That's what we're taught in our society to do. We want love, let's go look for it. No, the first step, according to me, what I've learned, what I've found that has worked for me and worked for my students, is you take care of the internal stuff first. Your internal energy, which is what do I want to create? You know, you get really clear on that. So it's prepare yourself for love is the first step. The next step after that is clear and cleanse your love life. This is a thing, this is actually what you can do. There's a step before it. Like if you're going through a breakup, you want to start with embracing a breakup. That's the first step you start with. And then it would be clear and cleanse your love life. Then it would be prepare yourself for love. Because, and I know this is a little bit confusing. I'm still figuring it out myself here too. Basically, clear and cleanse your love life you could use before prepare yourself for love or after. And a lot of times people will come, take my Prepare Yourself for Love workshop and say, oh my God, I realize I have a lot of stuff from my past. I have a lot of stuff from like other guys that I've dated or girls that I've dated. Even if you haven't been in long relationships with them, we carry gunkiness, you know, from every experience we have, every guy we talk to on the phone, every date we go on that's failed. If we're feeling very frustrated, then it means, okay, well, we need to clear and cleanse our love life. So then, you know, whatever, you want to clear and cleanse your love life, you want to start fresh, and then you prepare yourself for love. So it's different steps, you know, and I like to look at it like this, you know, if you're looking to create something fabulous, say you're, what should we say? Say you're building, oh my goodness, what is the picture here I'm seeing? Like say, it doesn't make any sense to me right now, but like say you're building something with clay. You're not going to start on a dirty table. You know, most of us start on a dirty table. We're saying, okay, we start on a dirty table, then we want to create the type of love life we want, and then we're building it, and it's not really happening. The results that we get, you know, the clay thing, whatever we end up making with the clay, doesn't look good in the end. It doesn't have a solid foundation. Well, why? Because we started on something dirty. So whenever you're building something new, you want to clear it off. You want to start fresh. You want a clean slate. So that's what clearing and cleansing your love life is. Let me clear the slate. Let me clear my heart. Let me clear emotional stuff out of the way. Let me clear all that. Let me take care of the healing. You know, that's embracing a breakup if you're going through a breakup, and then you want to be clearing and cleansing. Then your heart is fresh. Your energy is high to create. You have a lot of, and you need energy in order to create a relationship, to create this man in your life or this woman in your life. Then you prepare yourself for love. And that's a manifestation audio. You go through a lot of exercises of manifesting. And really, like, you could get really good at it. I mean, I'm excellent at it. So I go through the stages, like if I go through a breakup, I go through embracing a breakup, then I clear and cleanse my love life, and then, okay, prepare yourself for love. I go through those exercises. You use these over and over again. So then I'm preparing myself, and then it's like within a day or two, it's like for real, it happens like that, like really magical. Now, I've been doing this for years, so I've gotten really good at it. But I've seen my students get really good at it, and it's like, poof, they walk out, they meet someone new. So that's all found at loveguru.net. We're coming to the end of the show here. Tune in next week. I'm going to be teaching you guys on, we're going to be talking about loneliness. Loneliness is a relationship. Loneliness being when you're single, and loneliness when you're dating somebody. And I'm going to be taking your calls. So it's the whole hour is dedicated to teaching you guys and helping you one-on-one with your love life. All right, so thank you for tuning in today. If you are in New York or New Jersey or Florida, check out the Love Guru parties. I'd love to come to hang out with you and your friends and do readings for you live and teach with you live. It's always fun when I get to see you guys live, and maybe we'll have some drinks together. That's always fun too. So until we speak next week, guys, I wish you the best in love. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Love Life Heart Confessions with intuitive heart healer, the love guru, Blaire Allison. Blaire can be found on the web at loveguru.net and datingtipsfordudes.com. You can also connect with Blaire on Facebook and Twitter. See you there.